Is the Bible timeless? Explorers, scientists, and medical professionals influenced by the Bible. We've been looking at the effect that the Bible had on people, which in turn caused them to change the world in some way. So far, we've looked at world rulers, scholars, translators, and authors. Now let's turn to the explorers, scientists, and medical professionals who were influenced by the Bible. We'll look first at Christopher Columbus. Columbus is the man credited with finding the New World of the Americas. But did you know that he believed his voyage was going to be a fulfillment of prophecy from the Bible? In a letter found around 1500, Christopher had written this, quote, "God made me the messenger of the new heaven and the new earth, of which he spoke in the revelation of St. John, after having spoken of it through the mouth of Isaiah, and he showed me the spot where to find it." On October 12, 1492, the diary Columbus kept indicated that he had read Zechariah 9 and 10 and had been influenced to carry the gospel to the ends of the world. No doubt the part of Zechariah 9:10 that spoke to Columbus was this: "His dominion will extend from sea to sea, from the Euphrates River to the end of the earth." In 1493, Columbus went back to the New World with 1,200 men, which included priests and farmers, to establish a colony and plant Christianity in the New World. Galileo. He was a scientist who considered himself a Christian. Although Aristotle had become the bar for philosophers and other scientists, Galileo took a different approach. He believed that by observing nature under controlled conditions, you could then use mathematics to describe what happened. In 1609, Galileo invented a telescope, and when he observed the night sky, what he saw astounded him. At that time, it was believed that the Earth was the center of the universe and everything moved around it. But what Galileo was observing confirmed what Nicholas Copernicus held 100 years earlier, that the Earth moves around the Sun. Church leaders had viewed this as heresy in Copernicus's time, and they warned Galileo as well not to teach or write down his theories. But Galileo was defiant and refused to believe what he was seeing was contrary to the Bible. In a famous letter from the church, Galileo quoted a cardinal as saying this: "The Bible shows the way to go to heaven, not the way the heavens go. One must not, in my opinion, contradict this statement and block the way of freedom of philosophizing about things of the world and of nature as if they had already been discovered and disclosed with certainty." Galileo spent the rest of his life under house arrest, but refused to give way to the thought that science in any way contradicted what God had written in the Bible. Now let's look at Florence Nightingale, the founder of modern nursing. Florence was named for her birthplace, Florence, Italy, daughter of a wealthy and prominent British family. Because of her privilege, she received a first-class education. Her family expected Florence to marry well to a man of means, but Florence had other ideas. From a young age, she was concerned for the poor that were neighbors to her family estate. Her desire was to become a nurse, which was strictly forbidden by her parents. Nursing was seen as menial labor, certainly not for someone of Florence's privilege and means. But Florence was determined, and in 1850 she enrolled in the Institution of Protestant Deaconesses in Kaiserswerth, Germany. When finished, she moved to London, where she took a position in a hospital for ailing governesses. When the Crimean War broke out, there was a great need for nurses, and Florence, along with others, answered the call to help British soldiers injured in the war. She and the other nurses decreased the death rate of the soldiers by 2/3 just by their insistence on sanitary conditions. Florence would say that she had a call from God to do this work. In a letter to her father, she revealed her understanding of the Bible. Quote, "It strikes me that all truth lies between these two. Man saying to God as Samuel did, 'Lord, here am I,' and then God saying to man as Christ did in the storm, 'Lo, it is I, be not afraid,' and neither is complete without the other." Albert Einstein. Albert was born to Jewish parents in Germany, but went to a Catholic public elementary school, which exposed him to the Bible at an early age. He became one of Germany's most brilliant and influential physicists in the 20th century, receiving the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1921 for his groundbreaking research on packets of light called quanta. Einstein believed that the existence of God was too vast for our limited minds, and he had this to say about his religion, quote, "My religion consists in a humble admiration of the infinitely superior spirit that reveals itself in the little that we, with our weak and transitory understanding, can comprehend of reality." Albert immigrated to the United States when he was targeted by the Nazis in the 1930s. Although Einstein never became a Christian, what he learned in his formative years of the Bible gave him a respect for God as the creator and spirit behind this universe. He continued his research, discovering the formula E=mc², showing that energy and mass are interchangeable, and this led to the development of the atomic bomb. It was eventually used by President Truman to bring an end to World War II. We come now to a man you might be familiar with seeing on TV, Dr. Francis Collins. He began his science career as an assistant professor at the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor. He soon became one of the world's leading genetic researchers, leading a group of scientists in reading and deciphering the 3.1 billion units that comprise the DNA blueprint for human beings. His research led to the discovery of the genes responsible for cystic fibrosis, neurofibromatosis, and Huntington chorea. It was a breakthrough in helping doctors treat diseases caused by these genetic disorders. In 1993, Dr. Collins left the university to lead the Human Genome Project. In our culture, we often view genetic scientists as playing God, but Dr. Collins sees no conflict between science and his Christian faith. He embraces them both. In an article written in 2007 for CNN, Dr. Collins wrote this, quote, "I have found there is a wonderful harmony in the complementary truths of science and faith. The God of the Bible is also the God of the genome. God can be found in the cathedral or in the laboratory. By investigating God's majestic and awesome creation, science can actually be a means of worship." In our next video, let's look at some of the artists, musicians, and athletes who changed the world based on their knowledge of the Bible.